On this episode, we talk NIL and how you can actually get paid. Welcome to Inside the League. Today I have two amazing guests here to talk about the buzzword that is going around every college and high school right now, NIL. We have Rayquan Smith, who is a former football and now track and field athlete at Northfolk State, better known as the King of NIL. We also have Luis Pardillo, who is the CEO and co-founder of Dreamfield. Thank you guys for being on today.
Thanks for having us.
So,
thank you.
I'm going to jump right in with Rayquan. Give us a little backstory and tell us how you got to the world of NIL.
The way I got to NIL was very crazy. I woke up probably like at 10 o'clock the day before NIL started because I go to Northfolk State University, so they didn't tell me nothing about NIL or what was going to do and all this. So I did research on my own, and I looked up what was NIL, what can it do for me, and what can it benefit me, family, and everything. And when I saw it, I was like, okay, well, I can do this. I've been doing content. I've been, doing a lot of stuff like this in the area for a while. So I'm like, this is a great opportunity for me. So when I heard about it, I had wrote a format down, and I just sent to 100 companies. And once I sent to 100 companies, I woke up and 3 responded back. 2 was a rejection, and 1 was approved by a company called Smart Cups. And from there, I said, okay, well, I got 1 deal. How many more can I get? And I go on Instagram and I see the Power 5 athletes getting like, 1 deal, almost $1 million. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not getting that. So let me figure out a way to get that much money. And the way I came up was try to get as much deals I could get. And that's the goal, to try to get as much deals I could get to reach that amount of money. And I'm up to like 7, 8 deals. Still nowhere near the amount of money, but close enough. But now I'm moving towards a NIL consultant where I go around and help other athletes get on the same path as me. And I like to talk about my experience, my story, and help other athletes get on deals too. So that's why I'm moving towards this.
And kudos to you for being resourceful and like seizing the moment. That's like the epitome seize the day. So definitely we're going to get into that more. And Luis, how did you get into the world of NIL? Kind of what's your backstory?
Yeah, so Dreamfield was actually born out of COVID. We like to say it that way. I worked in corporate real estate, actually, in New York. And, when COVID kicked off, it devastated that industry. Basically, I think it was at one point 40 to 45% of renters stopped paying rent. And it really affected the industry. So right at that time, I got laid off early in the COVID cycle, probably late March. And I was watching the news, saw, the NIL legislation being passed in California, Colorado. And then in my home state of Florida, I had moved back to Florida. I saw that they were drafting legislation to push for 2021. So every job I was trying to apply to, every contact I had was getting bounced back. Basically, everybody was getting laid off. So instead of trying to get a job, I decided to hire myself. And I teamed up with 2 partners at that time, and we created Dreamfield. A lot has changed from the early inception to where we're at today. What our role is, teaming up with some of the largest brands in the world to help get them into the NIL marketing space at scale. So a lot of companies, if they want to hire 1 or 2 folks, not too hard to do, but if they want to hire 300 people to promote, that's where we come in. We utilize our technology and our operational skill set to be able to run these programs for companies like Amazon or Mercedes-Benz. We work with First Watch restaurants, companies like that.
That's really admirable to, first of all, take a pivot in your life, and then second, to really develop something that helps student athletes kind of in a mass way. I think that's something that people don't think about, like how can you get the most impact to students. So really great about that. I want to jump right into our student athletes questions today. They're actually taking an exam right now, but they were able to send in their questions. And so we are going to look at a video that they sent in, and you guys can feel free to chime in on answers if you have them.
Hi, I'm Sinai Green. I play varsity basketball at the Stewart School, and I'm a freshman. The first question I had about an NIL deal was, does it impact a student-athlete's financial aid?
No, it does not impact your financial aid. I think it's not the same. It's in two different categories. So financial aid really has to do much with your, like, you and your parents. NIL has more to do with, like, yourself. So I don't think it impacts your financial aid.
I think in terms of what I've seen so far, and hopefully we have another expert coming on in the future who can dive a little more about FAFSA and how that works.
Yeah.
I think what they're starting to do is just look at how much income is being made. And so not that it's a penalty towards your financial aid in any way, but it is a type of income. And so you just want to make sure you kind of are documenting it correctly. I think that's the beginning process, but I know you don't get penalized just because you have an NIL.
Yeah, I don't know much about that, but yeah, as far as I know, I don't think you get penalized right now.
Yeah. All right, let's jump into the second question.
Is there a difference between signing at the high school level and signing at the college level?
It depends, to be honest, on who you are. So maybe in the high school level, you might be a top athlete, top recruiter and everything. You get to college level, you might not be that person that you was in high school. So I think it's a big difference because you balled out in high school, you got everything you got in high school. But when you get to college, you might don't ball out the same you did in high school. So your value might go down just a little bit just because you're not doing the same as you were doing in high school. So I think it's a difference as far as that when it comes to NIL.
So in regards to that question, with high school athletes, they're typically under the age of 18, so they'll need a parental signature. So that's one little nuance as far as the process is concerned. Obviously, state by state, you have to look at different legislation there. But from our standpoint, the clients that we represent are focused on your follower count on Instagram, TikTok, sometimes Twitter, not too often. So that's from our end really the main driver of how these athletes can get compensated. It's really how big their audience is, less about what their role is on the field, while that obviously plays, a role in the athlete's compensation. A lot of it is, how big is their reach? Because you could be a Heisman Trophy winner with 300 followers on Instagram, and the brand's not going to get the reach and really be able to utilize that athlete's NIL. So they kind of go hand in hand.
Okay. So it sounds like between you two, it's like, what do you do to kind of create your buzz as an athlete in your opinion, Rayquan? And then if you can create that buzz as an athlete, then how can you grow it content-wise over social?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Content's king. I think a lot of athletes, it's great that they have the following, their performance on the field is great, but also the quality of content is super important too. Brands want to see the effort. They want to see the creativity when they're doing a post, and showing that they're really interested in supporting that brand or representing that brand. So you could see the difference, throughout deals.
Definitely what you said.
Is there a maximum amount of deals that you can sign?
Nah, you can sign how many deals you want to sign, but it's like unless. Nah, I don't think it's no maximum deal. No number you can sign. You can sign any amount of deals you want to sign with. Well, as far as I know, I got 78, so I don't think there's no max right now.
Yeah, I'll echo that. The only thing I would say is just make sure if any deals you have exclusivity. Like, for example, if you're representing a restaurant brand, chances are they're probably going to say during that period of time you can't represent a competitor. So just make sure that you're not violating any sort of things like that. But yeah, besides that, sky's the limit.
So I want to kind of go a little bit deeper. What's a misconception that both of you, and we can start with Luis, think students or young athletes have about NIL? Something that they tend to believe when you encounter them that's just totally wrong and it kind of stops them from benefiting from it? So let's go to you first.
Yeah, misconceptions from the athlete perspective. I think, kind of going back to agreements, and I put myself when I was 18 to 22, I'd never dealt with a contract or the terms with it, right? So I think, a lot of times it's signing without really reading and understanding what they're getting themselves into. On our end, we try to make the contracts as vanilla as possible so that there aren't any hidden traps. But there is a lot of deals out there that have a lot of hidden traps where it's, if you don't do this by a certain time, you void your agreement, you don't get paid. So I think before just jumping in and signing any sort of agreement, really understand what you're getting yourself into, and don't just look at what you're getting compensated, but look at what you have to do and make sure that it's a brand that fits you. You don't just want to represent anyone that gives you a check. You want to make sure it aligns with your values and, makes sense for your personal brand that you're building.
So Rayquan, I know in your 7-8 deals, I'm sure there has been learning, like things that you didn't know when you got your first deal versus like things that are second nature now. What's something that you felt like you had kind of on the job training or you learned seeing deal after deal?
Well, on the job training, I already knew like it's a business at the end of the day. So if the company not getting what they think they want, they will, they will drop it. They'll drop you. And they'll, because it's a business at the end of the day. Like, I know the company that they won't get in the revenue from what they thought they were going to get. And, we move different ways, So, it's always a business at the end of the day when it comes to certain things. So just make sure, like, when you do sign that agreement and everything, make sure you can handle that load, or make sure you and that person are a good, connected people that they understand that you are a student athlete too. And you go to school, you play sports. So, you're more busy than, most people. So if you can't do something at a certain time and they can't understand that, then it's not probably not meant for them to understand, because like I said, you're a student at the end of the day. So you're more busy than most people. So this is how it is.
And so I know we get a lot of questions about like, how does the money work? Like, if somebody just cash apping over money, is it you have to do something and then you get mailed a check? The kind of how does the cash make it to your account? And so can either of you all share what that process is, kind of from you reach out to the brand or the brand reaches out to you, and then what happens?
Well, I would say I think everybody experience probably be different. I have my own LLC, so I have Rayquan LLC. I got business account set up, so once the money hit, taxes come right out, so I ain't gotta worry about that later. So I use Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, or direct deposit in my bank account. So, and I use my bank statement, so taxes come out, so I ain't gotta worry about it later when taxes do start. I keep it simple.
Yeah, in regards to Dreamfield, we have an integration with Stripe. So every athlete that does a deal through us, what we do at the end of the campaign, assuming that they've completed all their deliverables, we will then send payment with Stripe, which athletes would connect their bank account in Stripe. So it'll end up flowing directly into their bank account. And then in regards to our partnership with Stripe, we have the 1099 process. So we'll automatically send documents over at the end of the year, really at the beginning of the following year, so that they can file for their taxes.
Yeah, I use Stripe.
Both of you all touched on the importance of like knowing that taxes play a part. So like whatever you're getting, just be conscious that you have to still pay taxes on that money over a certain amount. So thank you all for touching on that. I want to hit on what blows a deal, because everybody's excited about getting the deal initially, but you still have to do something in order to get to the money. So what have you all seen in your experiences is like what just makes a deal go south?
What makes a deal go south? When the company try to give you a lot, try to give you a lot, but not paying a lot. They will want all these posters and everything. Will pay like $50, $100. Like sometimes you just gotta like the deal might be good, like the company might be good, but the deal might be trash. And you just gotta know your value at the end of the day. Like, you know your value, so you're not ready to just, if a one company gonna do this for you, but this company not gonna do this for you, and this company is better than that company, like, y'all not adding up. So like, just know your value at the end of the day, and like, all good money ain't good money. So just be smart about it.
Yeah, I'll answer it from a different perspective. Once a deal is already signed, what tends to kill a deal is lack of communication or responsiveness. So sometimes we'll get an athlete to sign an agreement, everything's, set, and then when we start operating the deal, we can't get a hold of them, or it's lack of sending in the content for approval. And so we'll get to a point where, and we understand that athletes get busy with school and with, their sport, but, at a certain time we have deliverables on our end that we gotta have that content posted, and it might be based on seasonality. If they want to promote something before Valentine's Day, it does us no good to get the content after Valentine's Day, right? So we've seen deals go south once they're signed, just based on lack of responsiveness.
Trying to get that stuff in. Like, you have a set date to get content approved, and they will take like weeks. And I'm like, at this point, I mean, I took my pictures like 2 weeks ago. I mean, now I'm just posting them. Like, I got a different hairstyle now. It's not the same person anymore. But that's definitely the biggest thing. Communication. Like, when I text, I like texting better with the people rather than email. I think email is just a little too slow. Like, I think text message, you get right on your phone fast enough. Like, you can't tell me you see it because most likely you be on your phone. Emailing, you got to scroll through emails. You got to look through all the emails. Sometimes you got too many emails to see the emails. You might get lost in the file or junk mail, but text messages, they come right to your phone. Or I could call you. So
it's funny you say that. Yeah, and I agree with you. It's really interesting because we sort of play middleman in a way between the brands and between the athletes. And brands prefer emails. That's just corporate America. And athletes prefer text messaging. So what we actually do is we have a product called Hey Market that allows us to, as a company, text out, and we have 4 or 5 people on those texts on desktop. So someone's always reviewing it and responding. It doesn't rely on one person. And then we communicate mainly via email to the brands to push the content approval once we get the athlete's response. I mean, we'll have them send their content via email, because if you send it via text, it gets compressed and then the quality goes down. But so we actually, it's just great that you said that, because we use 2 tools to communicate depending on who the audience is. So it's a very good point.
Cool. So it sounds like NIL is a business first, and students have to understand that, and they have to understand how the process of the business works, everything from taxes and timelines to audience engagement and growing your following on the back end. I want to thank you guys for joining in today. Ray, tell everybody where they can find you and what you have going on.
You can follow me on Instagram at Rayquan Smith, RayQuan Smith, TikTok, Rayquan Smith, Twitter, RSmith24, LinkedIn, Rayquan Smith. All my social media is probably Rayquan Smith. You go on Google, type of Rayquan Smith, everything pops up. What I have going for myself, I go to HBCU, first HBCU man of the year, first HBCU signed with East Bay, first HBCU athlete to sign with a pro hockey team. I've been on TV with Kel Garnett, Hall of Famer. I've been in a lot of TV shows, podcasts, ESPN. I've been in Forbes, USA Today, mostly area news, big article you can name. But yeah, I have a lot going for myself. It started one day and changed my life. July 1st, 2021 changed my life. And the person I am today, I was not the person I was last year. So a lot changed for me. I'm only 21. I started when I was 20. I started when I was 19, going to 20. So I grew a lot. I grew up fast. It's a lot of business going on. So I got to know how to manage my time and everything. Still trying to finish school. I'm about to graduate in spring. Going to grad school to get my second degree. And then, sky's the limit from there. Hopefully I make to NFL roster and, have a good career.
Yeah. In regards to us, you could download our app on that, iOS store, Dreamfield Sports. You can find us there. It's free for college athletes. Well, it's free for anyone, but it's geared towards college athletes that want to participate in campaigns. That includes you, Rayquan. We have a validation process. We just have the athletes upload their driver's license and proof that they're on a roster, so that we can validate and send them contracts without worrying who the person is signing. As far as our website, it's dreamfield.co, not com. It's dreamfield.co. As far as where we're going in 2023, we have about 7 new clients that we're looking to kick off in the first quarter. Major brands. Most of the brands we work with are household names, and very excited about where this industry is going. And if you have any questions, you can use a communication tool on our website.
Thank you guys so much for joining. I appreciate it. And if you have additional questions about NIL, let us know in the comments. We're going to answer each one of them after the show.